Welcome back to the talkSPORT MMA channel. My name's Kwaku Afari. Before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. Make sure you're liking, commenting, and subscribing to the talkSPORT MMA YouTube channel. We're slowly building the community and we really appreciate your support. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. But let's get into the serious stuff. I am delighted to be joined by Cassius Clay Collard. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing very wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me, man. I want to kind of start from the beginning. You're known for saying hard times make hard men. I absolutely love that because it's true. Did you have a hard time growing up in Castledale, Utah?
I mean, I didn't come from a family with a lot of money. I came from parents in the battle of addiction. I came from, yeah, humble beginnings for sure.
And do you think that's made you the fighter you are today? Because you're known for your grit of determination. You've been in the octagon or the cage close to 40 times. Do you think that your upbringing in Utah made you the man you are today?
Yeah, I got into fighting at a very young age. I started wrestling at the around the age of 6. I started boxing just a few years later at like 10 or 11. So, growing up in the combat sports industry, my entire life, I think definitely helped shape me into the fighter I am today with that grit and that determination and that dog, I got that dog in me.
You do have that dog in you. You've been involved in some classic fights over the years. You mentioned your upbringing in terms of boxing and wrestling as being your bases. We've seen in mixed martial arts in multiple organizations, there's been a bit of a shift. It used to be grappling and wrestling heavy. That was the style that really dominated and won you titles. We've seen a bit of a shift to strikers now where we're seeing top strikers picking up gold in multiple organizations. What discipline do you think is the most important in MMA?
Man, being well-rounded because you could be a wonderful striker, but if you have no takedown defense, it doesn't matter. You could be great on the ground, but if you can't fend off, a guy's shots and punches and kicks at all, then that's going to be your downfall. So I think having a good, well-rounded game, at least as far as if you're a striker, you better be able to stop a takedown, and if you're a wrestler, you better be able to, throw hands at least a little bit to set up your takedowns and things like that. So
What would you say the strongest part of your game is?
100%, it's my striking. 100%.
And on the striking, as well as MMA, I touched on the fact that you've had close to 40 professional MMA fights. You've also tried your hand at boxing, 18 professional boxing matches. Can you see yourself ever stepping back into the ring?
Man, the only guy I want to box is Jake Paul. I just want to do it for all those MMA fighters that he's done beat up. I have played the game of boxing a little bit unlike most of these other guys, so I think he definitely had his hands full with me. But I mean, he's doing crazy shit now, so.
And what do you make of that crossover YouTube boxing kind of thing? Is that something you'll be interested in stepping into?
Honestly, no. I just want to beat up Jake Paul.
And if you've got a message for Jake Paul right now, what would it be?
I want to kick your ass.
Plain and simple. I'm sure Jake will hear that loud and clear. You're fighting for the PFL and Bellator. We've seen the merger. Have you seen any changes since the merger? Obviously, fighters are hoping for more exposure, hopefully more pay. Have you noticed any changes since there's been a merger between PFL and Bellator?
Well, I got a whole new roster to deal with. I think only one guy is coming back from last year, so yeah, we got a whole new roster to deal with. That's a big change for me, with you know 5, 6 different guys coming over from Bellator and entering the tournament and making my job a hell of a lot harder. So
Is it harder and more exciting, or is it just more difficult?
it's definitely more exciting. I'm not a man to shy away from challenges. I like challenges. So yeah, we're excited.
Your last fight was a challenge. It was in February against AJ McKee. Unfortunately, it was a submission loss. When do you expect to see yourself back in the cage?
So April 12th, is the start of the tournament. We're in the cage and we're fighting. That's a
Yeah,
week away. So
yeah.
as far as that goes, man, yeah, we want to shake off that loss. When you're fighting as often as I am, sometimes it doesn't go your way. Sometimes you get caught, and that's what
Yeah.
happened in that last one. So we just want to get that bad taste out of our mouth. We're excited we're chomping at the bit to get in there and do it again.
And yeah, you mentioned the last one was a loss. What do you do as a fighter to get over losses like you suffered against AJ?
Then it's just keep getting back into the gym, working on where I think I need to improve, which the past couple of fights have showed me that I need to work on my ground game a little more. So I felt like I was pretty well rounded, but I've been shown a couple holes, so I've been spending a lot of time grappling and just putting in the work. That's what helps you get over it. Is just getting back to feeling confident and feeling good about yourself again, and being in the gym and putting in work. Just stacking those days up. That's something that does.
I was watching your the video, the PFL Bellator video titled "Hard Times Make Hard Men," and in it we saw that you're a family man. You've got 4 kids. How do you balance having such a large family whilst also getting in the cage and fighting as well?
Man, I got to give a shout out to my girl Lena. She picks up a lot of my slack. I actually travel. I split my week almost right down the middle. I'm here home with my family, with the boys, with my spouse, half the week, and then I'm gone training half the week. So um, yeah, she's amazing to be able to pick up my slack and handle the boys and just stay positive through the whole thing. Yeah, it's tough. It's not easy, packing up and I got a baby who's almost 2 now, and you know, I swear every time I come back, he's doing something new or learning something new, or
Yeah.
it's tough to leave and not be there to see those things and be there for them. But when I am home, I try to make them my number one priority. But I still need to get my work in and get my workouts in and get to the gym. So even when I'm home, it feels like I don't have enough time with them. So yeah, it's definitely tough, man. So
Have any of the kids shown any signs of being interested in possibly stepping into the cage one day? And if they were, would you allow them to?
I'm gonna support them in anything they want to do. In the last interview I was talking, I have a boy who loves soccer, and I've never been a fan of soccer, but if he loves it, man, I'm gonna go outside and kick the ball around on the lawn with him, and I'm gonna show up to his games, and I'm gonna support him. So, um, I think if I'm lucky, the youngest one's a bruiser, man. He is just tough as nails. That 2 year old. He's made his older brothers cry a couple times. I'm like, he's 2. But yeah. So if all my boys are into basketball, and they have showed an interest in learning how to box, but not necessarily competing. So I would like to have at least one wrestler. So I'm hoping my youngest I can convince to wrestle. Um, but yeah, if any of them ever decided to pick up the gloves and say, "Hey, I want to do this," I would 100% support them, and I definitely let them know that it's not going to be easy and you're going to have to work, and I would help every step.
In terms of your upbringing, you mentioned that you boxed and you wrestled as well. Was there any other sports that you dabbled in? Obviously, not soccer. You made it clear that you're not a fan of soccer, but did you play basketball or football?
So I played little league basketball. I tried out for the junior high team and I got cut. Um, which is funny because they had a 3-on-3 tournament, and me and my two friends, none of us made the team, but we won the 3-on-3 tournament against all the basketball players. so, so I played a little bit of basketball. My first love was football. I
Yeah.
was a huge football guy. If I had different genetics and was a little bigger, I was a middle linebacker, a 160-pound
Okay.
middle linebacker.
A bit
I
undersized for the position.
Yeah, they put me on the line too, just because I was tough and I'd actually block.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my first love. That was my first passion as far as athletics go. And once I got older and started realizing like college ball and NFL is probably not in the stars for me. Then the shift happened to where like I always knew I wanted to be a professional something, and
Mm.
I fell in love with mixed martial arts at about the age of 12. So once I came to the realization that, I wasn't going to be able to play ball, then, fighting was the next best thing.
It's interesting that you say that you want to be a professional something. What is it about professional sports that attracts you? Is it the performing? Is it the competing? What is it about professional sports that made you know from a young age that I'm going to be a professional athlete?
Yeah, I think it was the competition. Um, it's the only thing I've ever really loved to do is play sports or wrestle or box or like, growing up and going to school, I hated every minute of school until PE rolled around, and I was like,
Same,
man,
same.
and I've always been very competitive, and a life without that competition and being competitive would not be something that I would thoroughly enjoy. I love competing, I love performing, just everything about it, man. I just always knew one way or another I was going to be a professional something.
And you're doing it very well right now. You said you're back in the cage in a week or so, in a couple of weeks. How's training going? How's the weight cut?
So honestly, man, after the last fight, we just kept the ball rolling and kept training. So I'm feeling wonderful.
Mm.
I've been doing everything I can to make sure I'm taking care of my body through the training camp. So we're feeling very confident, in very good shape. Last week the weight was all right. Hopefully this week we're a little lighter. Um, I'm gonna jump on the scale on Saturday, and I'll let you know how weight cut's gonna go. I never cut a lot of weight.
Yeah.
I don't believe in the 10, 20 pound weight cuts. 5 pounds is about all I like to do. 5, 6 pounds. So hopefully I can get low enough that I don't have to cut too much, but weight cut should be no problem. I'm in extremely good shape, and I just can't wait to, like I said, get in there and shake off these couple losses and go beat somebody up, man.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Before I do let you go, you've you're relatively young in fight years, but you've had a lot of fights. You're very experienced in the cage. You've also fought against some of the all-time greats when it comes to MMA. A young Max Holloway, Anthony Pettis, Jeremy Stevens. More recently, who's the greatest fighter that you've shared the cage with?
Man, it's hard to say. I think one of the best fights that I've ever put on, me and the opponent, were a guy named Justin Buckles. He fought in the UFC. I was young in my career, and he was like the old veteran, and we lined up twice actually. And the first fight, I beat him up for about 2.5 rounds, and then he kicked me in the head and ended up catching me in a choke after that. And the next fight, we had a 5-round war that to this day is one of the most exciting fights I've ever been in. So yeah, I got to give a shout out to Justin Buckles, honestly.
No, that's a left field choice. Clay, I appreciate your time, man. I know that you've got a big fight on the horizon. Good luck with it. I'll be tuned in for it. Guys, make sure you follow Clay on all socials. Make sure that you're liking, commenting and subscribing to the talkSPORT MMA channel. We really do appreciate the support, and we'll be back with more videos like this very, very soon.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.